Hello, humans. Welcome to another Too Much to Type. Now, I have fallen into the Married at First Sight rabbit hole, as mentioned in my last episode. I had taken a break because I'm turned off by the misogynoir, but with a new series coming out, I've decided that I'm gonna tap back in. And I've been binge watching the seasons in reverse. So I started with 19. I'm on 18. Holy shit, what a dumpster fire. Nobody warned me. My edges are snatched. I'm still recovering. But I want to get into some preliminary thoughts that I've had about all the couples. I actually probably will run this whole season back at some point. If you do close analysis, you know that's common. You watch things multiple times to get the full context. But I'm going to give my preliminary thoughts on everybody, and here we go. MM and, EKG, Ikiki, Waikiki, Ikea, whatever his name is. I fucking hate him. To me, it was misogynoir. I said this in the last one. A lot of times men don't like darker skinned women, don't know how to verbalize it, so they stay in the situation, let the woman waste her time and energy knowing that it's never going to happen, but at the same time they're waiting for something so that they can say, see, this why I didn't want to da-da-da. And that's basically what he did. He basically denied all her, wouldn't even let her cuddle with him after putting her hand on his genitalia, which is crazy. Wouldn't that was the immediate red flag. Like, she was trying to cuddle with him in the bed and he's like, oh no, we're not gonna do that, blah blah blah. And it's like, so you're not attracted to her at all? Which, full circle, because that's surely what he finally admitted at the reunion, right? And if you have any sense, then his behavior the entire season made no sense, because he was acting like it was everything but physical attraction, and it actually boiled down to, what do you know? Physical attraction. So I think honestly guys, misogynoir is so tricky, because people think when you say colorism that it means just their color. Sometimes it's their color, sometimes it's their hair texture, sometimes it's the size of their nose, sometimes it's the build of their body. It could be a number of things that fall under that umbrella, but my spidey senses went off when he said he wanted his own version of Michelle Obama, and she came in looking and acting just as that, and somehow he still found a way to make it, I'm not attracted to you. So I think that's what it was. I honestly think it was a mixture of all those things, but either way, he was very rude, very cold, very nasty how he treated her. And I feel like, he brought the worst out of her just so he could say, oh, see, this is why. See, look, oh, she's aggressive. That was tough to watch, because he did that in front of her family. And like she pointed out towards the end, like when he brought the divorce papers to the retreat or whatever, he was trying to, and she said that he was trying to embarrass her. I don't even think that he was trying to embarrass her. I think that he was trying to plead his own case to the world about why he wasn't able to be with her. Look how she acts. And it's like, you're serving her a divorce paper, not even all the divorce papers, a divorce paper at a couples retreat with a bunch of happy couples, where she came to put on a happy face and try to, just go along with everything. And you came like, Eddie Kane in, 5 Heartbeats too, and ying ying, here's the paperwork. And it was just like, you could have kept that shit, because you clearly didn't even go through the process properly, but just wanted to get another rise out of her so you could say, hey, look guys, this is why I can't be with her. I think it was all his bullshit and just not having the wife that he was looking for aesthetically. And unfortunately, she ended up showing her worst face, because again, she was genuinely trying and he wasn't putting in any effort and was disappearing for days and weeks at a time, and then like acting like everything was okay. So I think most women would have reacted like that, but if they weren't dark skinned, especially African American, they would have been called spicy or upset. But because it was a black woman, she's aggressive, needy, and desperate. So, hated it. Moving on. David and Michelle. Oh my God. When I tell you guys, I was cackling at how he was like, oh, I hit the jackpot. And she was in the bathroom like, oh, he lives with his mother. And like, I honestly, now here's the thing, right? I hate to have to empathize with David, right? Because I think he's a piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie. But I do think that it was partially racial. Why Michelle behaved the way she behaved. And the reason that I say that is because I just think that she like stereotyped him and threw him in the box. Like, first she saw him and she's like, oh my God, a huge like Moana looking dude. Like, I guess, you know what I mean? And then it's like, I live in my mother's basement. Nope, nope, nope. You're like half black, baby boy living with his mother, broke as shit. Like, nope, these people just tried to play in my face, and you know, I'm gonna go through it, but I'm absolutely repulsed. I don't even think it's like, I'm not sure, I think she was literally repulsed by David. And that was never gonna work. But at the same time, when it comes to David, I do get serial cheater from him. I do. And the reason that I say that is because he was talking about, like, I don't remember much about him saying like his past relationships. I like, again, I probably have to go back and watch it, but I don't remember him saying like, you know, like he has had a bunch of serious relationships or significant ones that, you know, changed him or anything like that. He did say that he had like transformed a big, huge area into a condo. And to me, that was like, that gives like player vibes as well. Then in his actual, you know, basement apartment, he had like kegs and all that. It just gives party boy hookup. I mean, his aesthetic obviously doesn't help. He definitely looks like the type. Like, honestly, he's not my type, but he is good looking. I'm not gonna lie. He looks like the type that might get a lot of female attention, even though it probably isn't the type of attention he wants, which brings me to my next point. He specified that he wanted blonde hair and blue eyes over everything, basically. He's like, oh, well, I hope she's blonde and I hope she has blue eyes. Like, and it's like, that doesn't look like you or any of your family members, so it's given fetishization. And you know, that's fine or whatever, but it's like, you got exactly what you asked for and you ended up having to swap her out because you didn't give enough details and everything else, which also brings me back to, like I said, now mind you, he has a black father who he was raised by, okay? How some black men, not just black men, but some black men, are very much aesthetic based, like only sometimes. Like, sometimes that's all they care about, and then they wonder why their relationships never work, right? And I just think that he might actually be one of those impossible standards dudes, because at the end of the day, yeah, everything seems nice between him and Madison, but we're gonna have to tap in a few years and see if he sent her some text messages by mistake, or anything like that. Because what I was getting to is, when he brought his cousin, I think her name was Tiffany, into the situation to try to get her to vouch for him, that tells me that he's probably done stuff like this before. And I think honestly that the reason the cousin didn't go along with it was because it sounded so crazy, because a lot of men who are players and playboys have women in their family who vouch for them and who help them cover up their bullshit. So I think that normally she would have done it, but based on the fact that it was like, I want to eat you up, she's like, I'm not going on national TV saying that you sent me a message as my cousin saying you wanted to eat me up. Are you crazy? You're gonna have to eat this one, you know, literally. So, you know, I think that's really what happened. Like, he's like, oh, Tiffany always vouches for me, and she's like, I'm not fucking vouching for shit, because this sounds crazy and you should have never sent it. And what are you doing? You're married and you're trying to deal with someone else's wife. Are you crazy? So I really think that is what happened with that. So yeah, I don't think that he's a good guy necessarily. Jury's still out on that. But I think that Michelle was so just like superficial and nasty that it just outshined like any bullshit that he was bringing to the table. Madison and Alan. Okay, I feel horrible for Alan, and I feel like Madison might be a bit of a fuck girl, because okay, you can't help who you're attracted to or not, but the thing about it is, I think honestly that this was more of a competition between women. And women, if you've ever been here, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where like you might have a quote unquote friend and you find out like she's just competing with you and trying to one up you. And I think that first of all, visually she thought that, you know, David was some Adonis, and she's like, damn, I said I didn't want a black guy, but I would have took his mixed ass, you know what I mean? Like, she probably was like, damn, I should have rethought that, because she wasn't attracted to Alan was too straight edge for her. And she admitted that she's dated black guys before, right? And that there's a reason they say once you go black you never go back, because, you know, the whole swag personality thing, that is a real thing in the black community. And I think that, you know, when she saw David, she's just like, oh, this guy's so boring and we don't have the same interests, and I gotta get away from him. So, but at the same time, I do think that David was telling her everything that he was doing for her, and she was getting jealous. And she's like, I wish my man would, give that much effort to me and blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, she did have a man who was giving effort to her, right? So that's why I say I think she's the fuck girl in the situation. It makes sense, honestly, even though I still think he's a jerk. It makes sense why he was looking for someone else. It doesn't make sense why she couldn't have at least waited for the process to be over to pursue that, because I don't think that she gave Alan a fair shake. I think that her reads on him were very much superficial, and she was looking for something different than what he brought to the table on the superficial level. And so she never really gave him a chance either, because she's another one that wanted no contact. Like, I was floored when he won, I think it was, what were we playing, tennis or something? And she gave him a kiss on the cheek as like he won. And she's like, well, you didn't expect. And it's like, that's your husband. You can't like give him a peck on the lips. To me, that was like, all right, she doesn't want his ass. But okay, moving on. Camille and Thomas, love them. Thomas is actually, not exactly my cup of tea personality wise. He seems so just like corny, for a lack of a better word. And Camille, as someone who grew up like embracing her black side in the black community, she clock that as well. And it's just like, I don't know if you can handle me for the long term, because you're kind of boring and kind of don't excite me enough. And I think that was valid, to be honest. No shade to him, but now my whole thing with him is he did give some colorism, little bit of speckles, like when he made the comment about like, you're light skinned, so I assumed you dated light skinned men. And it's like, no, you prefer lighter skinned people as a light skinned person or as a mixed person. And that's why you're like, why would you want somebody darker than you and you're light skinned? Like, it didn't even, register to him. And that could be, obviously, that's a cultural thing for why he was able to just verbalize that like it was nothing. But I do think that is where he was coming from when he said that. So that kind of rubs me the wrong way, but I think they're a very good match together. I think she is aware and awake, because she was the one who pointed out that it was crazy for Aikiki to call, I can't even think of her name right now, aggressive, because she understands the connotation and colorism and all that. So, I was with her. I like her. I like them together. I think they bring the best out of each other, and I would love to see them, have kids and everything. Carla and Juan. Okay, they were interesting. I love Carla, to be honest. I absolutely love her. She's a free spirit. And I think Juan was literally turned off by that. I think that he just thought she was a liability financially. And I think he was thinking with his wallet, guys. I don't think like it was anything to do with him being sexually attracted to her. I think he saw like, he's like, yeah, she's gorgeous. She's going to be like, wasting all my money with no plan, and I'm gonna be, here holding the bag. Because the fact that they ended up in business with each other says a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't, he could have just went on about his business. He clearly cares about her and wants to see her do well. I just think that he saw her as a liability, and that's why it didn't go anywhere. Ending up with Brandon. I think Brandon is a walking red flag. He's cute and all and good on paper, but I think he has attachment issue, guys, because he just wanted to get married too fast. He was just married for already 10 years. So it just seems like somebody who can't be alone. That, first date proposal was just, first date then proposal was just crazy to me. And it looks like he's making good in it. But again, I just think he doesn't want to be alone. I do think that he likes/loves her. But I don't think it's healthy. I think that he might be a little toxic, and that'll probably only come out over time. Lastly, David and Madison just give, like, grass is greener on the other side. They were both in the situation with people who they absolutely felt like were mismatched, and they saw a lot in each other. But I think that it's kind of a rage bait relationship where you kind of thrive off of pissing everybody off. So I think only time will tell how happy they'll be when people stop paying them attention and it's just those two together figuring it out. That's all I got.